me, Vinyl Communities. Jason here. It is Saturday evening. Sorry, I got my the streams crossed. You know, Ghostbusters. I am in my garage. It's not that cold. I was wearing a sweater. I shouldn't have. I went out to dinner, so I dressed up. Sushi. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it is vinyl tag, experimental vinyl tag. I saw Alex Moderic, 247. I've been wanting to do it for a few days, but you know it's tough, man. It was tough to figure out things to do. They kind of fell into place. I've been watching people's videos do it. You know, a lot of people I follow do some really cool stuff. It's a really fun tag. So I want to jump in. My collection is nowhere near as eclectic and as experimental as some of these guys that are doing it, for sure. Alex especially. I mean, stuff's out there on the fringes. I love it. It's pushing my limits, but I want to participate. I thought it was cool. And I've been listening. I know a lot of people have been saying this. I've been listening to, pulled up records to listen to, you know, to make sure they fit the bill. And it's been fun to do so. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. First question: show a record with improvised music, and that for me is, there was a couple. I'm not gonna play it, but this is Eric Stosh. I think it's Eric Stosh. Eric Stash. Okay. This is Transcription, Fruit from Another Garden. This is on Radio Canada International. Starts with Blair. This is the label. This is Canadian band. This is I bought this because this is basically the London Experimental Quintet, which they have an album that's, I forget the name of it, but it's black cover. Man, it's like super grail for me. And I don't know, this is basically, I was just doing some research, and this is basically, I don't know if it's all the band or most of the band. They did some record after. This is that. And it's nowhere near, but it's pretty crazy album. It's a kind of a blind buy because I couldn't, there's nothing online about any of the music, but yeah, that's the back cover. But I forget, there's a cool little excerpt from here. So this is the improv. The music in this album is a completely spontaneous stream of consciousness music. It intentionally refrained from providing any musical guidelines for the other musicians, nor did I wish to impress my personal feelings or mood upon the others. In fact, I avoided any discussion whatsoever about the kind of music which might ensue. I wanted each musician to approach the session in his own terms completely, an open, creative process nurtured in the flowing from within. So, yeah, totally improv. Eric Stash is on sax, Jerry Van de Kamp on bass, Greg Deschet, a piano clavinet, Randy Corell. I think he plays drums. Anyways, yeah, improv, pretty crazy, pretty out there. A lot of the songs start with like piano, sort of, and then the other people come in. Yeah, I'll say it's a tough listen for sure. You can tell they were definitely improvising. I think actually the last song, kind of, for me, it fits a little bit more comfortable. Maybe they kind of, you know, after a while they finally fit in and kind of got each other's vibe, or, you know, kind of what it was doing. So, but yeah, it's good. Music's cool. It's just kind of out there space, like, you know, a lot of space. And anyways, next, number 2, show a record featuring a Moog synthesizer. So I went with Moog Indigo from Jean-Jacques Perret. I believe he's French. He's kind of like, this is the U.S. press on Vanguard. I believe the first press is French. I think he was like an early innovator, French dude, like an early innovator of the Moog. And this is a little bit, I know people say cliche Moog. It's kind of got some stuff that's a little silly, but it's got some bangers. I find there's a lot of good Moog records that are like kind of half bangers, half kind of like cheesy. This is sort of like that. I don't want to say it's too cheesy, but there's one killer track on here. I mean, there's some good tracks. I think it's Ava. I thought it was called Ava. Yeah, EVA. Second song on side one, Eva. On Vanguard. Killer track. Like super kind of groovy. And interesting. I heard this, and I believe this is like 70. I don't know the date. I think it's from 71. I don't know. But I believe it's 71, late 60s, early 70s. But there's a song off of Erasmo Carlos album. The record I have, it's like a yellow cover. It's like amazing album. But I swear one of the tracks is exactly the same melody and everything is from Ava, EVA, from this album. Anyways, that's my number 2. Number 3, show record with a field recorded sound. I'm gonna go. This is a tough one for me. I don't have any field recording sounds. I was looking for stuff with birds, but this one came to me. This is Pink Floyd, Metal, and the track is Fearless. They like one of my favorite Pink Floyd tracks. And I just was thinking about it. It's just why this video took me a couple days, because I just couldn't quite think of exactly what to do. But this is a tough one. But on Fearless, they have it's like from a soccer game where they're like chanting and cheering, and so that was a cool one. Anyways, Pink Floyd. I don't listen to Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd's like one of those bands. It's just like, you know, I used to listen to them in college and stuff. So now I'm like always trying to like learn new music, so I never really listen to them enough anymore. I mean, I listen to that, I'm like, damn, so good. I need to listen to more Pink Floyd for sure. Next one, number 4, show a record with a drone. This is Between Daraya. I showed this record maybe like 6 months ago. I got this from DJ Shadow's sale. I think it was second press. I don't know if it was a German press, probably. Second German press. So it's kind of like ambient, crowd, classical, sort of. But the second track on here, number 2, which is called Om Namo Buddhaya. I don't know. I know I like totally destroy some of this stuff, especially like the Portuguese stuff. This is obviously a German. I believe they're from Germany. But the second track, there's this droney, like almost like you would imagine. I don't have a lot of like droney music, so this was also a tough one for me. I had a couple of things in mind, but that second track, it has like this total like, I don't know if it's like a sitar or something, but it's like some Eastern sound that you would imagine like being droney. I don't know if they have what they play on here. Doesn't say, but yeah, it has a like, like Eastern kind of like thing going on. Good record. I don't listen to this enough. I got it 6 months ago. I probably listened once or twice. It's very mellow, like kind of like almost like meditative. But yeah, really good. This next one, sorry, my list is on my phone here. I would imagine this is spoken word. Number 5, spoken word. So I was gonna actually go with Gil Scott-Heron. I know James Butteridge showed Gil Scott-Heron, and that was my first thought. Pardon me, which is I have it on a 45 and I have it on the album, which he just kind of goes off, like poetry, talking about Nixon, all that stuff. But I actually just found this today at I won't say it's a garage sale, but it was like a record sale. This is Freddie Hubbard. Composed and realized by Ilan Roglu. I don't know why I'm butchering that, but this is a crazy one. Look at the cover. 1971, Freddie Hubbard, promo copy, white label on Atlantic. I had never heard this before until today. Actually, I saw this at the sale last time. He had the coverage is crazy, and you know I didn't want to pull the trigger on it. I mean, it wasn't expensive; it was like $8. But I had a huge thing of records, and today, you know, I don't know. I saw it, and I don't know. Just decided to buy it, and it's pretty crazy. Has spoken word by Ilian Mimaroglu. I don't know where this person is from. I think from like somewhere. I don't know. It has a lot of crazy stuff on the text. Maybe like Africa or Middle East or something. I don't know. But this is a pretty crazy. I mean, this is an experimental record in itself. There's some droning. There's a lot of electronic on here. There's some like kind of jazz, more like free jazz kind of stuff. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, there's some like neoclassical and spoken word. There's one song on here. I think it's called. Maybe I don't know. It's not on here. I was listening to it on YouTube, and there was this track. Oh, it is. It's the first song. Therondy for Sharon Tate. It's pretty crazy. Like, yeah, I don't know. Talking about murder, and it's just insane. So that was interesting. I just got it today. I've only listened to it once. It was pretty cool. It's crazy. Spoken word. Let's see. Next one. Show record with processed instrument voice. This is another one that was tough for me. I mean, I have a lot of stuff that I think probably fits the bill, but I don't know. It's hard to tell. But this one kept popping in my head, so. This is Mars Volta Francis the Mute. This thing is ultimate masterpiece. This is Cloudsville, recently released, 2021. It's particularly a track. It's like the 4th or 5th track. It's called Side B. It's the whole La Vie Quez. It's the whole side B on here. Yeah, and it's like he sings and then his voice kind of goes like I don't know. So it's definitely processed. I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of other stuff that's probably it's like there's some weird electronic stuff going on in here. I'm sure a lot of the instruments are processed, but that particular part in that song, his voice gets like pretty crazy, and it's not normal. So it's definitely processed. Anyways, I'll put this back later. It's a tight one. It's a triple record. Yeah, with a big gatefold. Next, number 7, show record from an artist on the Nurse with Wound list. And this was interesting. I didn't know the list. I actually didn't have a lot of stuff from the list, but I was really stoked to see this. And when I saw the name, I was like, yeah, of course. And this is actually what we're listening to. This is Walter Franco. This is a Brazilian record called Revolver, and I got the original press. I think it's on Continental. It's a cool label. I think this is 75. Yeah, and I think that list came out in 79. So he did another album in 80. So he had one album, 73, I think 75. So if they would have referenced him as a inspiration or whatever, it would have been from this album or the album before. The album before his first album is pretty crazy. Like, it's cool, like really good, like kind of underground samba, and then all of a sudden he just like starts screaming or something. It's crazy record. It's really avant-garde, kind of out there. This one is a little bit more palatable. Highly recommend this one. It's got a little bit of an edge to it, as you can hear, almost like a fusion-y, but it's very like kind of rock and very palatable, but very interesting. Highly recommend this record. So good. This is Walter Franco, Revolver. But I don't know if they're referring to this one or his first album, which is pretty out there. Probably the first one. But so yeah, that's my record from a Nurse on a Nurse with a Wound list. Short record from featuring a toy, and this one was pretty tough too. But I just, I don't know. I remember I knew I had a record with a toy piano, and this is it. Wild Bell, Isles. This is a fairly new record. This is on Columbia. I think this came out in 2017 or something. It's like pop. I looked at it. It was like pop synth. But indie rock. But I find it's like more like indie reggae. I feel. It's kind of like indie rock and indie reggae, but it's cool. It's like there's a brother and a sister, Natalie Bergman. I think it's Elliot Bergman, and Elliot Bergman plays. Natalie Bergman's cool too. She's a singer, but doesn't have all the credits on here. Elliot Bergman's like multi-instrumentalist. He plays like sax and like. So that's them, brother and sister. But the song in particular is the last song, "Take Me Away." Here we go. Elliot Bergman. What does it say on here? But I looked on Discogs and he plays toy piano on the last track, "Take Me Away." Doesn't say here, but he plays Moog as well on here. So it could have been a Moog record, I guess. But that was my toy piano. On Discogs, per Discogs. It doesn't say here for some reason. I should have done better research, I guess, but yeah. But whatever. He plays a lot of shit on here. He's a multi-instrumentalist. I mean, you look at his name, it's like one song he plays baritone sax, memory Moog, super space drum, Chamberlain. Well, he's got like 3 or 4 credits for every song, so it's a good record. This is their debut. They've come out some stuff after that's pretty good. I've seen them live a bunch of times. Really fun. Yeah, but this is definitely the best album. But it's like indie reggae, kind of like that thing. It's highly recommended. So yeah, and that is it. Thank you, Alex, for doing the much more creative than I am. Kind of with some of this kind of threads. Seen a bunch of videos, really cool. I hope everyone's doing well and has a fantastic rest of the weekend. Cheers.